My cabbages! Low, low, man. Ah, my cabbages!
しっかり足を踏み出して、体重を移動しながら腰をひねり、肩に力を伝えて、
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
What's up, everybody? Of course, I'm always in the corner. I always have to make a big, but what's up, everybody? It's Andrew Esquire, Legal Mindset, teacher, be your own judge. Today, we're going to talk about how Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail has a path here. There is a real chance that he could, if he goes down the wrong path, end up with a life sentence in Korea. And this is not a joke. This is not clickbait. This is absolutely legit. We're going to talk about the path and the things that could happen to end him up there. This is real Korean law. This is an interpretation of Korean law that I spent the last week vetting and making sure, wait, is this real? Is this for sure? Are we sure about this? I pushed back the stream to make sure I had enough time, get the PP in order. We are set to go with this. This is crazy. We're also going to talk about, just to give you guys a little update on what's coming with the trial on October 29th. And also, there's been some geopolitics that can affect Somali and also could affect people in Korea. So I've kind of tucked that in there especially because it could affect people in international schools. And I know a lot of people that watch this particular Somali coverage are people that attend international schools or, maybe they teach English in Korea. So this is something you guys want to pay attention to. If you're the audience and one of those people, spread it around, share it with people, because this is something I want everybody to be aware of. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's been a while since I've been on the Somali topic. And as you guys know, I focus on Somali on the law and on things that are very legal. I'm not covering the drama. I'm not covering fake stuff. And there's a lot of fake channels out there that just put out fake news. I even saw one that was crazy. That was like the Korean army is trying to draft Somali. No, that's complete BS. You should really mute those channels, turn those off. That's complete nonsense. We're talking about today is very real legal stuff, and legal stuff that was pushed to me by multiple sources. And throughout this trial, every time I've gotten information, whether it's through the SCT, directly, indirectly, the SCT being the Somali conviction team, directly, indirectly, other information, things have turned out to be right. I am batting at 100% for things that are going to happen when I say, hey, this could happen. And so what I'm saying here is, if Somali does what I think he might do, and the theme of this is don't do it, because I don't want him to do. I think it is a horrible thing, and I don't want this to happen. And even for Johnny Somali, this would be the worst possible timeline for him. This is the worst possible option for him. So we know he's watching, and if he is watching and saying, hey, look, you've got a clear sign not to do this, but I know you're thinking about doing this. And I know what you're thinking right now, because I've been studying RKI. We've seen his kind of criminal shenanigans and the mind that he has. I know he's thinking about doing it. Don't do it. Don't do it, because life in prison is not worth what you're thinking about doing. It really is not. It really is not. But we're going to get into it today on the channel. I'm going to make sure I get all the chats up first. Of course, there is a fast facts. It's already up. It'll premiere after this. But if you want the condensed version, if you want a short version, you don't want me reading the chats, you don't want me doing reactions, whatever else, go to the fast facts. I think it's about maybe 17 minutes. So you can check out that version. But if you want to chill here, you want to have fun, we're all good for that on the Legal Mindset. And of course, we have a PP. I'll tease it a little bit here. We'll give you the little bit of a PP tease because of course we've got one today. I never would do this one without a PP. And this is a girthy one. This is a girthy one, so hopefully y'all can handle it. But let's get through. Commander HHL became a new member. Welcome. Dr. Vin became a new member. Welcome. Racky as a new member. Welcome. Welcome. Richard Berna as a new member. So many here. E. Caroline. Welcome. 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 E. Unhinged Valkyrie for 20 legal mindset memberships. Very based. Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
So got Sean Alex joining up. King Bob dropping one. Billy Oki said, my time has come, and so will I. Oh, hi, Andrew. Hey, Billy Oki. Sits at our Luke Chai. Good to see you. Copeland Cop for the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Space Duck for another 5. Hicka for 5. I mean, all those together deserve
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
And we're back. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate that very, very much. Also, King Bob's Queen for 1. Thank you so much. And then we got Fallen Hero as well for 1. Thank you guys for those donations. And I'm here for the Scuff for 20. I will say, I started early today. I was originally going to start at 9:30 p.m. Thailand time. I moved it to 9, and then I moved it to 8:45. So I started way early today for you guys because I really wanted to get this one out. And I know it's late in Korea. So for my Korean viewers, I'm trying to get this out while you guys are still awake. King Lugia, thank you for the 1 as well. And then Sam Robinson, welcome to the BLM, the base legal mindset that is. Not any organization that is being investigated for fraud and other things in the United States. No. The base legal mindset, the best BLM. DJ Case for 9 months. Thank you. Manachan says 18 months now. Wow. Any PP? Oh, yeah. Oh, you better believe there's a PP. L Eagle, disciple of Wah, says, given RKI's idiocy, it's like you're taunting him. I actually want to say this today. And I know that a lot of times it may seem that way, but today, and there is a little bit of this. I did not get to watch all of it, but I watched a little bit of the funeral of Charlie Kirk. And for those that got to watch that, I mean, that was extremely moving, and the speakers absolutely amazing. All of them. Erica Kirk, I mean, frankly, having the strength to get up there and say that, she forgives her husband's assassin. That is an incredible amount of emotional and spiritual fortitude. Today is actually a genuine moment where I am genuinely saying, and not in a taunting way, there is a bad path here, and we all get to choose between light and darkness. We all can choose that, right? We have that power within us to make the choice. And to the extent that Ramsey has within him and has anybody good interacting with him, has anybody that is still good, that still cares about him, they will tell him to walk the light path here and to not go down the dark path. And I genuinely hope, and this is sincere, that he does not do the dark path thing, because it will not be good. It won't be good for Korea. It won't be good for Koreans. It won't be good for the judicial. It will create a whole new precedent, which could make things wild. It could also, for him, for his personal life, once again, life in prison, is it really worth the clout and attention? Is it really worth it? Right? Ask yourself that. So we'll get that. This is for Emotional Cabbage. Okay, well, I've got that for you guys.
Emotional Cabbage.
Speaking of which, it's not ready yet. It's not ready, but we are getting cabbage merch. It is coming. Okay. Patience, young Jeddas. It's coming. I want to make sure it's super kawaii. It's super cute. We're definitely going to get the plushie. We're probably going to get a hat. I mean, shout out to Medicare. It's inspired me. I mean, the cabbage would look good on a hat, and some other merch, but cabbage merch is coming. I just want to make sure its quality is good, right? I'm not going to peddle some half-cocked cabbages to you guys. They're not going to be rotten, right? Sneaky Blinder. So Legal Mindset, don't do it. Echo, do it. This is one case where really I don't want it to happen, because it will cause chaos in Korea. Absolutely, if this happens. Tatsumi says someone needs to make RKI edit of cabbage merch, Magic the Gathering, and come in the Avatar Last Ender. I used to play MTG so much. I started back in Arabian Nights, and I really got big in Urza's Block. But yeah, I missed the really old school MTG. I haven't played in a long time. Deha for 5. Thank you so much for that, Deha, one of my OGs. Mr. Smeagol says, can we just exile Ramsey and Vitaly to the sun? Not yet. And we may have some updates on Vitaly in the future. I may also have an interview at some point with some people involved with that process, but not yet. Donnie said, I know you don't hope for it, but life for RKI. Yeah, once again, I hope that everybody will pick the good path in life, because like I said, we all have a choice, right? And even Ramsey, I know that I put up a poll in the chat, and the poll was, would Somali ever choose to apologize? 52% of you said no. 42% of you said only if he absolutely has no other choice. Only 7% said yes. I do believe it's only if he has no other choice. But what I'm trying to say today is, at this point in the trial, at this point where we're at right now, this is the point at which he has no other choice. If he wants to get out on even what looks a little bit like a light sentence, right? If he wants to get a light sentence, at this point, he needs to do the right thing. He needs to choose to do the right thing. And whatever that requires him to do, sacrificing his ego, right? You got to do that sometimes. You got to sacrifice your ego. I got to sacrifice my ego all the time and say, you know what? I'm wrong about this. I do that all the time. I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes in my coverage even the last week. Even the last week, I've made mistakes where I thought something was true and it wasn't, and I had to go do a retraction, right? These things happen. You have to say, you know what? You're not perfect. Nobody knows everything. Sometimes you make mistakes. That's okay, right? And you got to turn your life around. You genuinely do. Digital Lee says for 10, Legal Mindset started the stream early and he had no technical problems. Impossible. Demand answers. I want explanations. I want the truth. It's because I was really prepared for this one. I've been preparing for this one for the last week. Neko Girl said, I can't wait to see what RKI could do to get the cabbage fields for life you're about to see. Ryobi said, Johnny is practically Christian. They can't stop documenting everything they do, no matter how incriminating it is. And Hank is a Sonichu medallion. So that's the problem here. The problem here is that habitual yearning to do the wrong thing for attention. And this is a huge problem in America. And especially with streamers, they are drawn to be more and more extreme because that's what the audience pushes them towards. And Johnny Somali's audience, without a doubt, if you've studied this at all, they are the ones pushing him to the extreme, right? And at some point, you as the content creator need to stop, right? This is the same problem with a lot of people on the internet. You've seen this over the last 2 weeks that have been pushing themselves to more and more extreme rhetoric because they've been getting away with it forever. But the problem is eventually there's consequences. And that's what Johnny Somali will run into here. Red Knight for 50, thank you so much, says, well, given his intelligence level, he's demonstrated so far, I don't hold out much hope that he's even rational at this point. If there is a sliver of rationality and sanity, he will choose not to do this thing. If he does this thing, it's over. It really is over for him. Warren T. Voigt for 50, thank you so much.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Mr. Paradoxus, question for you. Why are so many people melting down about Kimball's firing the same thing that happened to Tucker, IMO, both consent in the Relevancy Club? We'll talk about that in a separate one in the FCC. It's a whole separate topic. I'll address it separate stream. Fitty Tucker said, Florida man shows PP. Thank you. Okay, I know there's some off topic. I'm going to save any off topic for the end. Dark Starler says, is it true the RK's lawyer quit? Now Johnny doesn't have any defense. Also, what crime did he commit to get life in prison? It's not about things it's about the possibility of life. Also, the lawyer quitting is complete false information. Do not pay attention to that. A lot of channels, because they're desperate for news on RKI, they want to get the RKI algo. They want to get the 4,000 live viewers we almost have right now. They'll put out false information. I do not do that. This is legit. This is all legit stuff. Spartan says, RKI, I'm gonna do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Talons here says, hey, Legal Mindset, do you remember the 21st night of September? Yes, I do. Terramai says, Danke für das Membership geschenkt. So yes, you're welcome for the present membership there, my German friends. Hope you're having good time over there. Guten Tag over there to my Germans. Kathy Swamp Queen says, Gators 7, Hurricanes 26. Gators are not doing well. I think I'm going to have to switch to a UM fan. I mean, I am a Floridian. I did grow up in Miami. And I grew up going to UM games. So I can pretend I'm a Hurricane fan, even though I'm a Gator. Shadow Stoner says, just joined. What's going on? What I missed? Not much. Nene Escobar said, Legal Mindset and Magic the Gathering. I never knew I needed these two to intersect. I tapped 3 lands to invoke more nerdery. What are you, dark ritualing here? We're not going to be dark ritualing in my chat. I will ban you for that. We will ban for any dark rituals in the chat. Ricardo Fung for 909 says, for the cabbage and accountability. Hope you're having a nice start of the week. I am. I really am. It's been a great week. Colt Kid says, waiting on live Johnny Somali meltdown, tears and snot bubbles. It'll be funny. Eris Athena says, Korea should be offended if he apologizes. It's just empty words. He deserves punishment and learn what consequences are coming. And last one here, Sobri says, went to bed after 8 nonstop hours of Gigi Murin singing Earth, Wind, and Fire September and woke up to this. It's going to be a long week. Oh, yes. Okay, let's get into the PP, shall we? Here we go. Okay, so here's your update. Wherever I go, I was on Side Scrollers the other day. I would pop into other people's chats. Everywhere I go, I am harassed by when is the next trial date. So I'm going to answer this question. And people are still going to ask it, but I'm going to answer it again. The next trial date is October 29th, okay? It will be witness testimony. There will be 3 witnesses. Bong Bong. We know Bong Bong. We talked about Bong Bong. She's in one of the deepfakes. There's another one with Jungman. And the third one, we thought it was Dalgoon. It's probably Hank Yu. It's probably Hank Yu. We made a little bit of a boo-boo there, and I did a correction. Once again, look at my whole point here. I'm not infallible. I make mistakes, but I correct them. That's the honest thing to do. Say, oh, I was wrong. Our information led us to believe this. Now we're pretty sure this. And I'm going to give a 90% certainty it is Hank Yu. And he will be called, it's not because he's snitching. I see the chat saying he's snitching. No, he probably is what's called a hostile witness. A hostile witness. So a hostile witness is somebody that is not there to tell a story. They're just there to verify facts. So what he has to do, what he's going to do is verify facts that the prosecution is going to bring up. I do not think he flips sides. I see you chat going crazy. It's what they call a hostile witness, meaning he's not going to be friendly. He might even try to get sassy. He might try to give like a not direct answer, or evade it. But really all he's there to do is say, hey, are you in this video or are you in this photo? Yes or no. And it's a yes or no question. He can give as sassy of an answer as possible, but the court's going to require him to give a yes or a no at some point, and he's just going to have to give a yes or a no. And that's pretty much what the prosecution needs him for. Now, what may happen here and what will be very interesting is what does the defense do? Because the defense on cross-examination can treat it like a direct examination, meaning they can ask a bunch of questions. So what's be very interesting is if Hank gets asked a bunch of questions on the stand by the attorney for Ramsey, and that may open the door to the prosecution getting back up. So first it'll be the prosecution. They're going to ask very simple questions. Prosecution goes first. Then you have the defense, Ramsey's lawyer, and then the prosecution can get back up and redirect, right? Ask more questions based on what the defense asks. So that'll be very, very interesting procedurally. And that will be one you got to stay tuned for, right? Gary was there. Hank will probably lie. Did his family disown him? We don't know about that. Once again, and I don't want to really get his family involved, stuff like that. We just have to see what happens. If Hank is just asked yes or no question, the defense lawyer might be best just to not ask questions. You just say it's a yes or no. Okay, don't ask questions. Let him go. I think the mistake would be to take all these questions that they made up, this dossier that he made up in Discord, and try to ask all those questions of Hank. I think that would be a real misplay, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Ronick says, hey, finally Con alive again. There we go. And let's see. Oh, Danny says, explain how Lockie Jones didn't get punished. Well, that's in Japan, not in Korea. I have no idea why they decided not to punish him. Maybe they accepted an apology. Who knows? Bullet in my beards for €6 says, ein freundlich guten Tag, kostet nix, bringt Überfehl. Greetings from Deutschland. Greetings to you guys over there. Prost to all of you over there in Germany. Appreciate all y'all. Very, very much. Very, very much. Got a lot of German viewers. Also a lot of Scandies. So let's continue here. So Dalgoon's not testifying. It's going to be Hank. Okay. We still know the charges have not changed as of yet. Now, remember what has happened every single trial pretty much over the last 6 to 8 months. What has happened? Right before the trial, they add a charge. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today is what charge might they add, especially if Johnny Somali acts up, because we have information based on his pattern of behavior that we've well established that he is about ready to act up. He is sending signals that he's acting up, that he's ready to act up. He's on the precipice. He's on the cusp of acting up. And there's a very specific thing that it looks like he's planning to do, a very specific thing and a very predictable thing that he looks like he's about to do. So right now we've got these, but they can always add more. They can always add more. We've got 4 obstruction of business, 2 minor crimes, all of which he's pled guilty to, which, by the way, these 4 increase the sentencing minimum. So his sentencing minimum is already high. And then he's got the deepfake counts, which he's going to be questioned about in October. So right now, once again, this is big fighting against the other clickbait channels and titles. The max is 12 years. The max is 12 years. It's not 42. It's not 100. It's 12 for now. For now. If this new charge gets added, the max is life. The max is life. But for now, on paper, it's still 12. For now. Right? Okay. Here we go. So, and mind you, if he gets additional counts, this is just going to get closer and closer to the minimum. So these are the sentencing guidelines. So right now, the sentencing guideline dictates he gets at least 4 years and 9 months by default. So at least 4 years, 9 months. That's what the default is, just based on what he's got right now, right? And then the max is 12. The max is 12. Okay. And by the way, he would go to jail even if he appeals. Even if he appeals, he would go to jail pending that appeal. Okay. Also, Red Knight says, as a historian, making mistakes is just part of the job. That is true. That is true. And you know, you just correct yourself as you go. Anna Taylor for 125 Philippine pesos says, Mabuhay. Mabuhay to my Filipina and Filipino brothers and sisters. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday. Spending it alone in the middle of a super typhoon, but glad to watch you wife. Hey, hope stay safe. I'm glad you have power. You know, it's been raining really hard here. Part of the reason that I sometimes have a bad connection is it rains really, really hard this season in Southeast Asia. So yeah, no, I completely feel you there. So stay safe. I hope your family and friends are safe and appreciate the support. Baldo Metal. Sorry, for Aussie 5 says Johnny's lawyer needs to get, sorry, I can't get over Baldo Metal. Anyway, sorry. Johnny's lawyer needs to say GG, no RE, then the prosecutor can't recross. I mean, yeah. That's the smart thing to do. But my concern is that Johnny has to, and whatever, it's not a concern. It's just what may happen. Johnny may have told his lawyer, I want you to ask all these dumb questions. And if he gets up there and asks a bunch of dumb questions, it opens the door. It opens the window for the prosecutor to come in and add in a bunch of stuff that really didn't need to brought up, but now it's brought up. Now the judge is hearing it, and it's only going to make it worse for Johnny, not better. Sreef says legal pee-pee sounds like something I should not be watching work. I can't help myself. I know. It's very legal. It's very legal in all countries. Sito Kaiba says, hey, sorry for the dumb question, but let's say Ramsey gets some time in prison and like a 20 million fine. How will he be able to pay it back? Can he even work? Yes, that's the cabbage fields, right? That's the
emotional cabbage.
So to explain that for newbies, what Korea does is if you have unpaid fines and you cannot pay them, you can get forced labor. So essentially they can force you into labor. Now, typically it's like road work, but agricultural work is still a thing. So essentially you could get sent to a field to pick crops, one of which kimchi. We got cabbages out there, right? So that's where the joke comes from. That's where the inside joke comes from, but it's not really a joke. You could be forced to do industrial labor, maybe making odeng, which are like the kind of fish cakes. You could be forced to do all sorts of things to pay off that fine, right? You know, that's a thing. Now, of course, they're not going to, you know, send you out there in chains, right? But it's, hey, you've got to pay this somehow. So how are you going to pay this? Okay, you're going to work it off, right? Mike Turner says RKI will soon be outstanding in his field. Like the Spike Man says, I don't want Hank's family involved, nor not their problem. Yeah, exactly. I don't try to get people outside. It's not their problem. It's not their fault. Same thing with even Johnny's family, even Ramsey's family. They should not be brought up. They should not be involved. It's completely inappropriate to drag people in when they're not part of it. And we don't know what their stance is. And particularly if they're opposed to it, if they're, you know, against it, why should people bring them up or even mention them? I don't think it's appropriate. But if it goes further, I don't want to hurt them. I hope you're keeping up with the CFB. My Huskers shat the bed, but not sure your Florida team. Pray for Erica and the Kirk family. Yes, absolute prayers for the Kirk family. I mean, Erica had such strength in that speech once again. And a lot of the people, just really heartfelt speeches there and really inspiring to see people come together in a positive way, a peaceful way, a nonviolent way, which is always what I promote. Lady Bumblebee says, you guys aware Johnny posted a video walking into a South Korean men's base in a tank? Now, that's not really a thing, right? That wasn't you got to be very careful. There's a lot of fake stuff and other stuff like that. You got to be understanding a lot of these videos are posting misleading titles, misleading other stuff. So be very, very careful about what you think that is, because it probably isn't that thing, right? It probably is not that thing. Dark Strailer for 100 Argentina says they called Johnny Somali 00880 charges against him, 80 cabbages waiting for him. Baldo Metal says Johnny, when he walks into the fish cake factory, sniff. Oh hell no! I got your clip for that.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no!
That's him in the factory. Also, Fitty Tucker dropping Fitty Legal Mindset memberships. What?
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
If you received a free gift membership, please say thank you right now to Fitty Tucker and all those generous people who gifted. Those fives add up, 5. It gets to 50. Please say thank you if you received a gift membership. Express appreciation. Remember, my chat, you guys win because you're one of the most respectful, thoughtful, intelligent chats out there on the internet. And I appreciate having you as my chat. So thank you for that. Thank you for being respectful. Very simple rules. Follow the TOS. Stay respectful, ask questions, even questions that challenge me is fine if you ask them in a respectful manner, right? Also, Lady Bumblebee said, sorry, spell check, South Korean Memorial Base. Yeah, and that's a big difference, though. That's a big difference. He's not walking onto an army base. And by the way, the title saying he's going to be recruited by South Korea's military, that's complete clickbait. You should mute those channels. You can actually mute a channel if you go into the settings. Also, Red Knight, thank you for the 20 as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's continue here. Next, what is the cycle, the Somali news cycle? Now, OGs will remember this, but we need to remind the new people, okay? So this is the normal Somali news cycle, particularly before I started covering this and before he came to Korea. Normally what happens in the mind of Somali, he acts out, rage ensues, there's no coverage, it dies down, the heat dies, he escapes, he gets away. However, since we've been covering it and since he's been in Korea, it kind of goes like this. Somali acts out, rage ensues, we cover it, it goes viral, all the other channels will cover it. And by the way, I am aware that a bunch of channels are going to cover this. A bunch of channels are going to translate this into Korean. So I make sure what I'm saying is not crazy and I make sure what I'm saying is accurate. And the pressure on him increases. And another thing that happens here is he's usually charged with a new criminal charge. So this is what's happened. He acts out rage, we cover it, he gets a new charge. And so what we're going to talk about today is we are going from 4 to 1. He really wants to act out right now. He's giving us all the signs he's going to do something. And if he does something, it's not just going to be rage, it's going to be chaos, right? Chaos. And it's going to go wild, right? So let's talk about first this immigration thing, because while this may not seem it's related to Johnny Somali, I want to cover it for two reasons. Number one, a lot of people watching, international school students, teachers, English teachers in Korea, a huge faction of you guys. I mean, and I have a lot of respect for that. I know a lot of teachers when I was there. They're really good people, and some of them very, very intelligent. People even asked me to be a guest speaker at some of the international schools there, which I'm happy to do at some point in the future. I've been approached in the airport, Seoul airport, by international school students saying, hey, what's up, Legal Mindset? I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? But this raid that happened in Georgia, that was a massive mistake, I think, because it was over workers that had the wrong work designation. They some of them were on like short-term business visas, some of them were in manager visas, but they went down and cracked down on Koreans that were, yes, they should have changed their visa category. Yes, they were working unpermissibly, but there was a more chill way to do that, and it was definitely not chill. Because a lot of them ended up getting, removed, a lot of them getting sent out, and South Korea generally this is the thing about Korea. Korea's been a pretty good ally to us and they generally are complimentary to us, right? They're not a country where we're flooded with illegal South Korean immigrants, right? That's not really a thing. And they're working in a plant to generate stuff that makes money, right? So it's like, okay, they're doing like very productive, technical, skilled work, right? They're not working at 7-Eleven. Right? They're not going out there and taking Uber jobs, right? So what's going to happen here is what's called kind of tit for tat, right? It's, oh, you did this to us, now we're going to do something to you. And so what would that be? So if I was Korean immigration and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to give you something that could affect Somali, but it also may affect teachers. So first of all, the reason why this is serious is because a U.S. diplomat literally expressed regret, which means, and mind you, the diplomat is appointed by the president. So they're saying, hey, we regret doing that because they know that Korea may strike back. So how could Korea strike back? Well, here's what would happen. There's a bunch of Americans working in Korea without work visas or earning under the wrong visa, right? I'll even say this. I know people that are in Korea, they're Americans or they're British or they're Westerners that are working, and they're working and doing something they technically shouldn't be doing. I'm not saying they don't have a visa. They do have a legal visa. Once again, if you're in a country for a long time, you need a visa. But they technically shouldn't be doing the thing they're doing, right? The biggest thing here is with teachers, because teachers, especially people like in international schools, are teaching non-permitted subjects. So what they're doing is they're, for example, teaching math, but their visa says you're an English teacher. So technically, they're going to be in trouble if immigration comes and finds these teachers that are supposed to be teaching English, teaching math or history or something else. And that would really affect a lot of Americans if they did a check and said, hey, we're going to mess with this. Now, what I would say they could do if they wanted to do something but not mess with the teachers, which I don't think they should do. I think they should leave the teachers alone, let them continue to teach, right? They should mess with streamers instead. They should crack down on streamers, because streamers are making money without a proper visa. And there are visas you can come in to stream, and you can even do the digital nomad visa. The digital nomad visa, very easy to get, allows you to stream, not too hard. And you can just get that and stay in Korea for a year, 2 years, and it's no problem, right? So if they did crack down, who's an easy target? It's Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali has been in Korea streaming and uploading. He's still uploading stuff to social media without any sort of permission, work visa, etc. So they could crack down on Somali. Now, most likely they would fine him. They could do a criminal charge. The thing is, immigration is separate than the criminal system, so it works a little bit different. And immigration doesn't like to do stuff unless they have to, or they like to get you at the border. But they could take action on Somali, or could at least take action on streamers, and that would be a big thing. That would be a massive thing. Yeah. But this is not the topic that's going to get him life in prison. I'm going to get to the topic right now. That's going to get him life in prison. But before I do, or could get him life in prison, before I do, like the video. We got 5,300 people here. Like the video, guys. Make sure you like the video. It really helps out in the algorithm. Appreciate you all, right? It's free. It's free. Let's get a couple of these comments too, and then we'll continue. B. Byron said, great coverage. Thank you. Skididdly do. This is off to the cabbage fields. Thank you. B. Brian also gave 5 Legal Mindset membership. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. I work very hard on these PPs. This one took me quite a while. Clotho says, how cooked is Somali? This could be bad depending on what he does, but I have a feeling. I got a feeling. Chaos Master, did someone say Chaos gets booed off stage? Hicka, thank you for another 5 Legal Mindset memberships. And Kate Kerbal said, is his option to avoid life sentence an insanity plea? Watching you in hamster speed to catch up for the missing start. It's all good. Remember, we also got the fast facts. It's always there. And for the insanity plea, I will give
emotional damage.
Heart Virus Beats Goku says, we may disagree politically, but we both hate Johnny. Makes me happy. Even Chris Chan is a better person, Johnny. Yeah, and by the way, everyone is welcome here regardless of your political beliefs. I try to stay as politically neutral as possible, right? There are some times in which I have an opinion on policy or something else which relates to law, which you can kind of infer my leanings or preferences. But a lot of people be surprised, particularly if they spoke to me personally. There's things I agree with that are non-traditional, or somebody who you think you might put in one area wouldn't agree with. And I would say, nope, there's reason to this, or there's a possibility for this. I try to entertain both sides, and I try to give you guys a very fair, balanced, neutral opinion on the law, as objective as possible. David for £5 says, going to Korea next Tuesday. Can't wait, but sad I can't attend the case. Yeah, you can if you're there. If you're there on the 29th, you could. Red North says, well, we appreciate you. Hoping for the best. Thank you. All right, let's get into life in prison. So what is it that could get him life in prison? The Statue of Peace. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, wait a second, Andrew. Wait a second. I thought you said that there's no crime. There's no crime out there. That it's like a minor offense, or it might be a fine, and there's no crime for doing anything to the statue. And that is still correct. So technically, he has not yet been charged with any crime related to the statue. However, information that was given to me, and once again, when information gets to me, it comes from a lot of sources. And I have reason to believe this may be a source from inside. It's very likely it's an inside Korea source. And it came from multiple places, actually. But this statute within the Korean law may authorize Korea, if it decides to go there, and I'm going to tell you the situation in which they might decide to go there, to put him in jail for life, up to life, right? Up to life, if he messes with the statute, right? Now, let's be clear. This has not been filed yet. It's possible. They could do it right now if they wanted to. But I don't think they'll do it if he chooses the light path. He chooses the path of good. If he chooses the path of evil and the path of cloud chasing and the path of attention seeking, I very well think there's a risk they can do this. And once again, how did this start and what does it come back to, the statute, right? Sebastian Mueller said, no one expects the holy insanity plea at Inquisition. That's right. Showro for 5 says, RKI, shape up. Do you realize it's not worth it? I believe you must face your mistakes. Also, legal mindset, explain insanity plea.
Emotional cabbage.
Refuse. Nugsy says, finally made a stream. I blame you for streaming from Asia. It's all good. It's all good. Sorry, I'm actually in Asia. Unlike all those fake Japanese and other accounts that pretend they're in Japan, but they're really not. They're in like the UK. Yeah, you got to watch out for that. We're gonna do a stream on that on Wednesday on all the fake Japan accounts. Mr. Baird Oxum says, it sucks, but we need to enforce the laws equally. If we don't, it could be seen as prejudice against specific groups, making immigration law enforcement worse. That's interesting. Actually, so the government choosing to selectively enforce is not something that's actionable from a legal standpoint. However, the public perception standpoint is different, right? So here's the thing. Think about it like speeding. I always bring it back to speeding, but it's not a legal defense for you to say, hey, I was speeding, but you didn't arrest the other guy who was driving right next to me doing the same speed. That's not a defense. And that's, by the way, the defense RKI tries to use. The defense RKI tries to use is, well, those guys did it too. So if you charge me with a deep fake, you got to charge Bong Bong or Youngman, etc. Well, that's not a defense. That doesn't actually work. That doesn't get you out of the crime you committed. So I understand your point, but that is equally applicable to U.S. law as well. If you committed robbery and there's somebody else who isn't charged, but they did it too, that doesn't get you out. And it may not be fair. That's fine. That's a good thing to say. Okay, that's a fair argument for you, but it's not a legal defense. Millie Oka said, hold up. So the ICE raid on Hyundai could have been an email? Yeah. Yes, like the Pam Bondi, truth post that could have been an email, right? Yes. Peter Burke for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Let's switch it up here.
Yes.
And Boss of Modern for 50 Norwegian krona says, I'm betting on Johnny getting a life career as a cabbage farmer. It's about time for a career change. Okay, let's get into the statute. This is serious. The Youth Sexual Protection Act. Now, I know we've been talking about the Child Welfare Act, but we're going to talk about this one specifically. And there's a very specific statute in here that allows for up to life in prison. Okay? Pay attention. Now, this is very careful. So, under this statute, which is meant to protect children and adolescents, it defines a youth as anyone under 19 years old. So I know in America it's 18, we think of age, after 18 you're an adult. In Korea it's 19 under this statute, right? Under the statute, there are multiple crimes against youth. And the biggest thing that somebody discovered within the Korean law is that the definition of children and youth, and I don't want to say the S word, but you see the S word there. I'm going to say children and youth exploitation material is defined. The definition is defined in a way that can include the statute of peace. So let me just say this. The statute of peace is something that depicts a underage girl. And because of that, the law could be used against him. Let's look at the law. Children and youth exploitation material. I'm skipping this word because YouTube doesn't like that word. It refers to material depicting a child or youth or person or representation. Once again, guys, underline this word, representation. A statue or a picture is a representation that can be clearly recognized as a child or youth. Once again, what is a child or youth? Anyone under 19. performing any of the acts listed under sub article 4 or performing any other act, sexual act in the form, I said the word, we're in trouble now. Like the video, we're in trouble. In form of a film, video, game, image, or video. So once again, he's a streamer. So when he is streaming or taking images, doing acts, which could include kissing, grinding, diddy partying, with a depiction of a minor, that can count under the Korean statute as child and youth exploitation material. So what's the penalty here? Let's read it. Article 11, production, distribution of this material. Any person who produces, imports, or exports child exploitation material shall be punished by imprisonment for life or for a term of not less than 5 years. Let's read that one more time, guys. Shall be punished, shall, by imprisonment for life or a term of not less than 5 years. Meaning Johnny would have a minimum sentence of 5 years up to life in prison. Once again, you guys see the text there. It's not me making this stuff up. It's up to life. Now, is he going to necessarily get life? No, not necessarily, but he could. He could. And if he does the thing I think he might do, it could be very, very bad. And once again, producing this material is because he's putting out image and video through his computer, doing acts to this statue. And let's be very clear. The Statue of Peace and Soul represents, and this is a straight quote here, it represents comfort women who were forced into slavery by the Japanese military in World War II. It specifically depicts a teenage young girl, the age that many of these victims were when they were abducted. The artist chose to depict a 15-year-old girl to represent the victims at the time they were taken. 15 years. That's under 19. Initially, they considered a statue of an elderly woman, but decided to use the image of a young woman to powerfully evoke their lost youth. And here's the biggest thing here. And here's why this is a big thing now. And this is why I'm saying don't do it. Before, he may have had the argument he didn't know, although we have video evidence that he knew. And he was like laughing, he's snickering. He knew what this was before. But let's pretend that Johnny didn't know before now. He now knows. He's gone on record as knowing. He's been told by multiple people this depicts a child, right? Or a teenager, whatever you want to say. Somebody who is considered a child or youth under the statute. He knows this now. So if he does any future action to that statue, anything, he's knowingly going after a representation of a child or youth, right? Of a minor, right? So here's the thing. Once again, he now knows without question the statue represents a child, 19 years old. He is threatened to go back to the statue. He is reposting videos about the statue. And I'm going to show you those in a second. He's just reposted these. The news cycle is getting to where he would act out for attention, clout, and boredom. Remember, Johnny Somali has said he cannot help himself. He cannot control himself. There's videos of him wandering around aimlessly. He started to re-upload to his social media. Now, I'm going to give a big warning here. Do not check his social media. Do not go there. Do not feed the troll. Do not give him views. Do not give him money. Do not give him anything else. Don't do that, right? Do not do that. It's not good, right? Right? So yeah, make sure that you do not feed him. But I'm going to show you the videos he's been uploading, okay? And this is all you need to know. This is what he's been re-uploading. He re-uploaded these like a week or so ago. I asked Korean girls what they think of the Comfort Woman statue. Itaewon Nightlife, my tribute at the Statue of Peace. He's thinking about it. He's very, very, very much thinking about going back to the statue because that's the thing that made him famous. That's the thing that got him big. He's thinking about going out there. And what is he going to do? He's going to escalate. He started by kissing it. And then he did the Diddy party where he threw the baby oil on it. He danced on it. He grinded on it, was like sitting around on it. And now what would he do? Well, he might go out there and try to look like he's performing let's say a adult act. We'll call it an adult act on the statue. If he was to go out and perform an adult act on that statue, not only would that enrage all of Korea because they know he knows better, and he's just been walking around because that's normally how they let people go, right? But now they see what he does while he's walking around. He goes and does that. A judge could absolutely use that statute against him. So if he goes to the statue and escalates his behavior, particularly similar to the sex act, the prosecutors could add that charge. And actually, let me correct my let me just make sure this is right. Okay. There we go. Got to correct the PP. Make sure the PP is very, very good. So if he goes to the Comfort Women Memorial, right, and escalates, particularly simulating a act, right, the prosecutors and judge could add this. Now, I spoke to Korean lawyers, right, and I was with the lawyers in Korea. I spoke to people who know the process. This is a creative argument. Okay. So I'm not going to say this is a common thing because typically you don't have people sexually harassing statues. Typically normal people in Korea don't go and do this. But guess what? When there's time for people to think, because now people have had almost a year to think about Johnny Somali and how to prosecute him, they say, hey, wait a second. This is on the table. And people inside Korea that are very motivated to take down Johnny Somali are saying, hey, this is on the table. Now it's creative, it's new. But if the judge in Korea and the prosecutors are mad enough, this is absolutely on the table. So what would that be? Once again, life in prison or a minimum of 5 years. Now, what's the light path? What's the path of good? He would be better off changing his plea to guilty, admitting fault, sincerely atoning, and backing that up with actions, right? So I'm going to get to this explanation here in a second, but let me before I get to the good path, bad path talk, the little bit of the last hope for Johnny Somali. Let me get some here. Not my clowns for 10. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Gritter Pirate says, for the goal, like the stream. Thanks for the edutainment. My pleasure. We hit the goal. So thank you for that Tobal cabbage victory. We're gonna have some cabbage merch at some point, guys. So thank you for helping out, loving the cabbage and contributing. Gaxian for 10 Legal Mindset memberships.
Oh hell no. Oh hell no. Oh hell.
Red Knight says, Johnny, you're so busted. Well, replicating idiocy. That's right. Fatima says, Ramsey is in a pickle. Kimchi. Louis Kelly says, ignorata juris non excuda. Yeah, that's true. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It's very true. I'm here for the scuff says, yes, I was speeding, but the cop was speeding to catch me. That doesn't get you out of it. Digital Lisa, I think you discussed this before, but can the South Korean prosecution retroactively apply the CSAM charge against RIK for what he did to the statue? It's not retroactive. They can still, if they wanted to use that, they could use that right now because the Diddy Party stuff does have sexual implications. But my argument there is this is a creative argument. So they're probably most likely to do it if he goes now and does it. Because remember, we're in the trial. So if during the trial he goes and does this, which I think he's thinking about, we have evidence to believe he is thinking about this. And we know the mind of Ramsey. We know how he thinks. He's even admitted this himself, that he can't help himself. He can't stop. That's the clearest target for him to act out. Gary Lee said, RKI said the ages and numbers. As offender, listen, it's possible at a certain point. Man, you have Korea going after them for the max, and then you have Oregon taking diddlers off death row. Why can't we be more like Korea? Pure Elena, for one, thank you. Like the Spike Man, so I spend more memberships. I spent on more memberships to Pippa and Kirsha, and another one on VTubers a month. Sorry, I'm not a green name right now. You're all good. Hey, it's all good. Shout out to the base Fox girl, Pippa. They're doing great. Fishman handling things over there. But appreciate all you. Appreciate the VTuber stuff. There's some VTuber investigation I'm doing right now on some potential bad actors there, but I got to do more investigation there. But yes, I appreciate all my VTuber fans. The Joebot for 5 says, got a U.S. born friend on a second try and in-laws to the U.S. to mainland PRC. Any suggestions for emails to attorneys to him? He's trying to go get his in-laws to the U.S. from mainland PRC. If you shoot me an email, I might be able to think of somebody, but I mean, they don't have specific PRC. They're just immigration in general. So you can shoot me an email, andrew@live@gmail.com, and I might be able to point you in a direction. Can't win as a new member. Thank you. Anthony Fortensa, considering he already insulted the judge multiple times, does he really have any hope at all this point? He does. I think if he was sincerely apologized, he's not going to get off scot-free. He's going to be punished. At this point, he's going to get a punishment. But the question is, what type of punishment do you want? Do you want a relatively minimal one? Or do you want the maximum? Maximum Pest Solutions for 20 Canadians says, Johnny's going to be learning cabbages quickly. Thanks, Andrew, for the information, my friend. Cheers. Hey, cheers, you guys. Cheers, you guys. Wherever you are in the world, appreciate all y'all out there. Always helping me. Always helping me. Let's see here. At this point, it's the only bad ending and worst ending. That's fair. Brilliant said Koreans, 1 at birth, 2 at the 1st of January. Oh, that's true. It's true. The Korean age is different. Mr. T for 5 says, don't listen to Legal Mindset. Get yourself a lifetime subscription to the Cabbage Fields. You might even find true love behind bars. Gray Ham and Egg says, doesn't reposting the statue video again make it a new crime publishing? It could. So him posting these videos, him reposting these videos could be a crime. Yes. So him just posting these again on his social media, just that alone could be enough. And I've now made prosecutors, because by the way, Korea is listening, right? Korea is listening. This stream will be clipped. It will be put out on a million other channels. It'll be translated into Korean. Korea is listening. That alone could be enough. But let's give this little speech here. And once again, I was kind of a little bit inspired. I watched I didn't get to watch all of it because it's during nighttime in Asia, but watched a little bit of the Charlie Kirk funeral and especially some of the path you get to choose and forgiveness and everything else. And this is not me by any stretch of the imagination forgiving Johnny Somali, but this is asking and talking to perhaps Ramsey, and saying, hey, Ramsey, there's a choice in life. You get to choose between the light path and the dark path. And maybe there's still somebody who's in the good path. Maybe there's somebody in your life who can give you good information, because everybody so far who's been giving you information has led you further down this path. And if you continue down this path, here lies life in prison. Here lies total ruin. Here lies complete, just you're cooked. This is going to get you some punishment too. However, if you go down this path, it's a lot better than this one. Because where has this one got you? Where has this path got you? It has got you nothing but ruin, isolation. People have abandoned you, right? These people are not your friends that have led you down this path, right? If you go down this path, there's no helping you. This is your final warning. You have a choice. And all you got to do is start off by pleading guilty, admit fault. It's hard. And Johnny Somali has said himself, he doesn't know how to say sorry. It goes against who he is. Well, guess what? You created the character of Johnny Somali. You can create a character that does the right thing. If you can create Johnny Somali as a character, you can create a character that does the right thing. But actually, here's what you do. You get rid of the old character. You recycle the old character, wood chipper the old character, and be the new person, right? Now, do I think he's going to do that? Maybe, maybe not, right? But it's his choice. It's always been his choice. He always has been the one to be able to choose what to do. And at this point, it's not too late. But I'm going to tell you right now, if he does this, it may be too late. And after this trial on October 29th, when these witnesses testify, it may be too late. If he does not take action to put himself on a good path, ASAP, it's going to be way worse for him. And the trial is not over yet. It's going to be several months after this, at a minimum. At a minimum, it is going to be several months, likely into 2026. So what are we going to do here? It has not worked out so far. Big Buddhist for 5. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Eat My Sandwich says, do not redeem. Do not redeem. Once again, I'm just speaking the truth here. And let nobody say, I did not give a very fair assessment here, and I did not give every single warning where all you got to do is do this. And it's really not that hard. Think Like a Brick says, hear me out. Nux is Legal Mindset collab. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. If he can not talk politics and we'll just talk the law, then yes. Snow for 5 says, I have to go take an exam, but glad to have Cons on the stream. Have a good day, Andrew. Thank you so much. Have a good day to you too. Archlord Dune Rider said, since he had priorly filmed more than one statue, yes, it's true. If there were kids in the background witnessing his actions, could that count? That's different. It's not about the kids watching. It's about the statue being a child. That's the key here to this one. But that might make it, look worse, of course. Mag's a poppin' for 5. Thank you so much.
Emotional cabbage.
DJ to my hit says, but they did flood us with illegal workers. What, Korea? No, I don't think so. Jan Ann for 50 Norwegian Krona says, JD Daly said it best. The first step to a happy life is to take responsibility for your own mistakes. Exactly. And you know what? I will say this personally. I'm much happier now that I'm just honest about stuff. And I'm like, yep, I screwed up. Yep. Just take the hit to your ego. We all have to do that at some point. We all have to be wrong. We all have to take hits to our ego. And you know what? You're better off for it because you're going to learn and you're going to get better, right? When you screw up, you get better. And that's what you do. And everyone screws up. It's normal, right? Nobody's infallible. Sorry, Pope. Any news on Vitali? Well, there'll be an update probably in the next month or two, but nothing to report right now. Unhinged Valkyrie for 5. Thank you so much for that. Once again, thank you for the very base support. Okay. Cabbages are coming. Cabbage merch is coming soon. We're gonna have plushies, maybe hats. Shout out to Medicare. And other good stuff that's coming very, very soon. Also, I'll get this off-topic one. CPD Chanker Joe for 10 says, off-topic for the moment. Recently, a manager told a buddy of mine not to discuss our previous wages with new hires. Is that considered illegal or some sort of worker right violation? I mean, he can tell you not to do that, but if you do that and he fires you, I mean, depending on your state, depending on where you are, but remember, we have at-will employment generally. Unless you have a contract or something else that guarantees your workers' rights, they can give a lot of reasons to fire you. So generally in the US, you can be fired for any reason, including the fact that they just don't like you, right? That's a little bit of a gray area. I would consult like a local employment law guy or somebody who's familiar with your industry, because that might vary, right? That might vary on what industry you're in. Maybe you have some sort of protection, maybe there's some union provisions, etc. So there's cases in which that could be a no-no, but there's other cases in which they might just let it slide. So if you do tell them, I would definitely keep it on the down low, right? Mr. Tabaran Oxum said, I'd love to see 1 million LM unsub collab. It might happen with Detective, aka Angry Cops. He's the guy that exposed the Buffalo public school system. Yeah, that could happen. It's possible. I'm definitely down for more collabs. Definitely. That is what I had for today. So what is going to happen with Johnny Somali is I'm going to give a update stream at least a week before. And if anything happens with this, I mean anything, I will keep you updated, because I do truly believe we're at a moment where Johnny Somali is about to do something. And whether it's in the next week or two, and we may see that extra charge come out right before the next trial. That's been the pattern. That's been how things go. We're going to see how that goes. Stick around. Fast facts coming. I'll get this one right here. Samuel said, I would like to see John Daub and Only in Japan and Andrew Esquire. We're talking. We may collaborate. So anyways, guys, stay based. Catch you later. And don't be coping.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the seething. The truth, it is all day. And now you are more.